So onto the final part, which is making the stand-up white collar for Snow White's bodice. And for this, I am going to be using this offcut from my wedding veil. So this is a nice soft white ivory netting tulle, and I'm going to put on top of this some of these lace pieces that I had also from my wedding. And this is going to go on top of the tulle for a bit of extra detail. And then I've also got these two different lace trims, which are going to be along the outer edge of this collar. So I will overlay them because this one here is more cream and this one's definitely more white, and I want the more white, stark white look. For high contrast, it looks best with this. All right, so I have cut this general shape on the fold. I sort of just measured around my neck and made sure that this was that measurement. So I think it was around 20 inches around. And then here I've just sort of made that up and hoping that works. So there should be, I think, like 8 layers of tulle in here. And then when I fold this back out, it should be 4 layers overall. So we'll see how this goes. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing at this point. So I've just sewn, I guess, darts in the center and then these like angled parts along the collar. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm thinking of sewing some boning channels out of this cotton tape, but the cotton tape looks quite ugly and I want to hide the cotton tape behind some layers of tulle. So I've done that, and the cotton tape will be sewn to the back side of this collar, and then I can put the boning, which will be black cable ties, through this cotton tape on the back side of the collar. At least that's what I'm thinking for the moment, so I will continue and we will see where we get to. So I've been making progress, and so far so good. I've decided to sew down each of the sides of the dart things that I had sewn, so one at the center and then one at each diagonal side. And I've just bunched all of that up, flattened it down, and then sewn either side. So I've done that for all 3 here. And then what I'm going to do is sew some of this cotton tape on the back of each of those, so I can use that as a boning channel. I've already done it on one of them, this one here, and I started with stitching the tulle down on one side, and then once that was done, I then went ahead and sewed the cotton tape on the back side like so, and then there's enough space in there to insert some boning. So originally I was going to use black cable ties because that's what I usually use and always revert to, but I found that the black kept showing through this fabric quite a lot, and I found that I have this clear plastic boning in my stash, which I didn't remember that I had it, but I found it. So I'm going to use this and insert this into the boning channel at the back there. So first off, I need to sew the rest of this cotton tape onto the other channels, and then I can figure out how I am going to do the rest of this collar piece. I'm thinking that this boning, since this is long enough, it will go around the whole outside edge of this collar to help it stand up and keep its shape. I've just finished sewing all of the cotton tape along the outer edge of this collar piece, and I've also put in the boning in these channels here. So this is the back side, and what I'm going to do with this cotton tape along the outer edge is turn it to this back side and then top stitch it all the way around, and then that way it will form a casing for me to insert more of this boning. And that should be the structure of this done. I may need to add something to the inside edge as well, so that's not just raw, and I might just do the same cotton tape, but we will see. Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to top stitch it just yet, because as soon as I top stitch it, it means that boning will be in there, and also if I sew over that at all, I can't put the boning in. And I actually want to decorate this outer edge before I put the boning in, because I don't want to hand sew anything if I can help it. And I've actually got these two different types of lace trims that I want to have layered along that outer edge. So I've got this ivory cream one, and I want that one to be, so like if you pretend that this cotton tape has already been sewn flat, I want this frilly trim to be on the very outer edge like so, and then this brighter, whiter trim to be overlaid on top like that. So I'm going to actually sew both of these trims on, maybe at the same time, just to save me some time, all along this edge, and it will also hide my original stitching that I did to keep all of these tulle layers together. The lace trim has now been sewn to the entire outer edge, and now I can proceed and sew the cotton tape flat against the back side of this collar, and that's how it will look from the right side out. I will be adding more lace on top here, so hopefully a lot of this cotton tape that can be seen from the back will be hidden. So I've popped in the boning. It's boning all along the outer edge and also on these channels. The back side looks a little bit messy with the cotton tape as the boning channels, but I'm fine with that. It is the back and no one will see it. As for the front, that will be very visible. I need to close off the inside of the collar, so all along here, and I'm thinking to just use the same cotton tape again because, well, it's soft, it's cotton, and I don't have to hem it at all. I just sew it straight on and that will close the edge. And then the final touches will be adding these beautiful lace patches all on the tulle, I guess to hide some of this dodgy looking boning stuff, and also just make it look a bit prettier. So the collar is looking like this. I have put in boning in the inner rim and also the outer rim, and it's got good shape. So it will look something like this. and I will have these ends tuck in and secure at either point of the bodice. And yeah, this is looking really good. Basically for this edge here, I just did the same thing that I did for the outer edge, which was sew cotton tape channel and then inserted boning into that. And yeah, I'm thinking lace will go at least on the inside here, like there, but I won't put it back here because then my hair will get all caught in it and I don't want that. So I'm thinking maybe just one piece here, one piece there, and then depending on if I feel like it needs it, I might add all the rest of them along the back here, so when people see it from a side, then they will see sparkly lace there as well. So this I can just machine sew, I'm pretty sure, so I will do that. And then I guess I need to figure out some sort of way to secure it at the bodice. So at the moment I'm thinking ties or buttons or snaps, just something. Ties are probably the easiest though. I've used up all of the lace pieces now, and I have ended up sewing them all to the back of this collar piece. And I've just machine stitched all of this down, but where there are beads, so there are some beads on this trim here, which is along the top edge of the back of the collar. I couldn't put that under the machine entirely, so I've just stitched down areas where I could, and then I will hand stitch the rest. And likewise with a lot of this lace down here, I could sew it under the machine, but it's just a bit finicky to keep going around all of the curved edges. So I will hand sew any parts that are not entirely down by hand as well. And so that's the outside. It's the outside, and then this is the inside. And so when it's worn, it will look something like this. And you can see that I've decked this out with a whole bunch of lace, but at the back there, this is all left just with the netting because I don't want my hair to get too caught in the lace. And yeah, and the back side of the collar is very, very decked out with lace. And that side's probably a bit better to see it. And yeah, that's, gosh, that's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be, but I think that adds to the dramatic effect, and this collar thing is very recognizable for snow. And yeah, I'm very happy with how this has turned out. It's probably been the funnest part of this project, even though perhaps the most chaotic. It's quite fun adding all of this lace and the trim, and very different to what I usually do. So for securing the collar onto the bodice, I've just decided to use these little snaps, and they just pop into place. And then on the outside it just looks like that. So then it can curl over the snap and form into place. So this one here is already snapped in, but yeah, that's how I am going to secure that. And then as for the cape, which is like at the back here, I have just safety pinned it to the tops of the shoulders. But I think going forward, I will safety pin it to the back of the bodice because the cape is super heavy and just weighs on my shoulders, which isn't very comfortable. But for this photo shoot, I'll just leave it up on the shoulders, and hopefully this collar doesn't flop down too much. I will see what I can do to prop it up a bit more.